You know the vibes. Welcome back to another episode of the Hoop Genius podcast brought to you by NBA 2K23. I am Mo Mooksy alongside, as always, the one, the only Mr. BJ Armstrong.
Real name, no gimmicks.
You know it. Here we are, BJ. We've just had game one of the Western Conference semifinals in the books between the Denver Nuggets and the Phoenix Suns. And what a game it was. You know, we were all worried about Denver's defense. We forgot to worry about Phoenix's defense as they took a beating 125 to 107. Denver takes a 1-0 series lead. We're going to break that down for you, and then we're going to talk about tonight's matchups as we've got a game one and a game seven. So this game, BJ, we saw Jamal Murray continue his dominance, 34 points in the win. He just is in a Jimmy Butler-esque fashion, seems to elevate his game in the biggest moments when the pressure is on in the NBA playoffs. A lot of people tried to say it was just in the NBA bubble, but he's proving that the bubble was not a fluke. He's out here balling out. Nikola Jokic finished with 24 points and, more importantly, 19 rebounds. Now, the Joker went 9 of 21 from the floor, 42.9%. Now, usually that's a decent night for anyone, but for the Joker, that's a very inefficient night. So he didn't have his best shooting game. He's usually a lot more efficient than that, but he pulled down 19 boards as he essentially humiliated the Phoenix Suns. The Phoenix Suns as a team had 41 rebounds. The Nuggets had 58. Right, DeAndre Ayton pulled down 7 boards to go along with 14 points. High man for the Suns was Kevin Durant with 29 points. Devin Booker had 27. Chris Paul chipped in with 11 points. And not much else in terms of the depth of the squad, which was unfortunate to see. So what are your key takeaways from this matchup? The statement game one from Denver.
Well, I thought in the first quarter, you saw some things that Phoenix, kind of showed and kind of brought off the menu of what they could do. However, the second quarter, and in particular, the shooting, 3-point shooting of the Denver Nuggets proved tonight to be the difference in the game. I thought they shot the ball very well, in particular, Jamal Murray. There was I think Phoenix only made about 7 threes for the entire game.
Yeah, and like 2 or 3 of them were in garbage time. So at the point where Jamal Murray got subbed out because they were up so big, he had more threes made than the entire Phoenix Suns roster.
That 3-point shooting proved to be the difference. Now, no excuses, but it's always a concern, and you have to know this coming into Denver, and I think that's why the coaching staff elected to come there early because of the conditioning there. I mean, it's a real thing. I always go back to the very first time I played in Denver. I had heard about it. Yeah, whatever. And then you go there and it's like you haven't, it's a real thing, the conditioning part. So
what do you say?
Monty Williams,
like, you usually say it's like there's glass in your lungs or something.
Yeah. I mean, it feels like razor blades. It's when you're breathing, it just hurts. Okay. I can't tell you how bad it hurts. Now, I understand why they got there Thursday night. Because everyone knows this. It's not an excuse. You don't make any excuses, but you have to adjust to it. So now they've been there for.
It's tough, not just for road teams, but Nuggets players. I heard Bones Highland the other day say that it's tough even for the Nuggets when they've been on a road trip to come home and get reacclimated to it. It takes a couple of days to settle back in.
I would imagine. I haven't played there, but it's a real thing. So I get it. Normally, you don't see teams leave 2 days beforehand, but you want to get acclimated to it as quickly as possible. So by the second half, you could really see the difference. To me, the energy level of Phoenix was just got worse and worse as the game went on. Now, give Denver credit. They played terrific. However, it just is what it is. It could be a very positive thing for the home team.
It's not just that as well. It's because the Phoenix starters had to play so many minutes in the first round to get past the Clippers. Tonight they had a little reduction in their minutes because they managed to sit on the bench for the last 5 because they were getting blown out. But KD still played 36. Devin Booker still played 40 minutes. Chris Paul only played 32. As the series wears on, not only do you have to deal with the altitude of playing in Denver, who have the home court advantage, you also have to deal with, okay, who can we bring in to impact the game to get our stars a rest that they need. Because, for Denver, they had Bruce Brown come off the bench with 14. They had Uncle Jeff Green, come in, and he made some contributions. They had guys coming in while Jokic got a chance to rest on the bench. Now, the big problem for Denver all season long, they would get decimated in the minutes where Jokic wasn't playing. But tonight, they held it down in the first quarter in the minutes that Jokic wasn't there by having Jeff Green at the 5 and switching everything on defense. But in the second quarter, they in fact extended their lead, even though Jokic wasn't in the game. So the depth of Denver really stepping up, a lot in part was Jamal Murray and the way the rotations went, Jamal Murray carrying the offensive load. But guys like Aaron Gordon stepping up. Aaron Gordon finished the game with 23 points. And if you can get 20 points tonight from Aaron Gordon, that's fantastic. Michael Porter Jr. had a very quiet night by his standards, only 11 points in the game. But then there's KCP who added 10 and Bruce Brown added 14. So they had the scoring load was kind of distributed as well in the minutes where their stars were getting a rest. Denver were doing a great job of like pushing the ball in transition as well, coming up with some steals. Bruce Brown obviously played with KD in Brooklyn, so he must know a thing or two because he got a couple steals on KD, which we saw led to easy fast break chances for the Denver Nuggets. Should I tell you my favorite thing that I saw in this game?
Sure.
The start of the second half. Obviously, Denver's got a big lead, but they did not start the second half in the right way. And about 30 seconds in, Mike Malone calls a timeout. And he said to his team, come on, guys, let's focus here. Let's not take our eye off the ball, because we all know in the modern NBA with 3-point shooting variance, even though the Suns didn't take a lot of threes, we'll talk about that. And it's like a lead is never safe in the NBA anymore. So him calling that timeout early, getting his team back on job, and the Denver Nuggets ran away with it on a night Nikola Jokic didn't really dominate. So talk about a 3-point shooting. The Suns only attempted...
the guy has like 24 and 19. He didn't really dominate.
Compared to his usual efficiency. I mean, like, that was a bad shooting night for him.
I'm just messing with you, man.
On any other night, though,
he only had 24,
40.
19, and 5. Hey, 24, 19, and 5. But you know what?
You know what I'm saying? On any other night, that's 40. But the Suns only put up 23 3-point shots as a team. Now, we know they're a squad that loves to attack in the mid-range primarily. Do you think that's something they're going to have to adjust to as the series moves forward?
Well, it's just going to have to find a rhythm. And, when you play in Denver, I'll just say it. When you play in Denver, you got to expect this. I'm telling you, when you play in the regular season, I don't know how you do it. Every team I was on when I played on the Eastern Conference, normally you have guys play 8 to 10, maybe 8 to 12 minute stretches. When you play in Denver, you would cut that to 4 to 6 max.
Wow.
Now, that's how significant, and that's a real thing. So my first time there, I would always ask the coaches to sub me out at like the 8-minute mark as a starter. Why? Because I couldn't go longer than like 4 minutes. And I always felt I was in great shape, but I couldn't. Now, second half, you get a second win, you start to adjust, and hopefully the game was close. But I've never, ever had success in Denver. Okay. That's just one of those games that I've always known. Even when I played in the Western Conference, it was the same. And so, you know what? Okay, you get this one. However, I think their next game, they should be a little better. And if you could just cut this, that second quarter down a little bit, and just kind of keep it close, you'll give yourself a chance. But Denver played terrific. Taking nothing away from Denver. Jamal Murray was excellent. The bench, Jokic, you know what? And they deserved the win. They were the better team here this evening.
DeAndre Ayton refers to himself as dominating, but he was far from dominant tonight, as there were many possessions where the Denver Nuggets were just crushing them on the offensive glass, and that started early on in the first. There were some possessions where he was literally just stood and watched as Nikola Jokic went and got boards, and even Devin Booker, there were some possessions where KCP got back-to-back open threes because he was ball watching and helping off a shooter that he might have been able to get away with against the Clippers, but can't do that here against this Denver squad. How does Phoenix address their rebounding problem? Because they got out-rebounded tonight. I think it was...
this is what Phoenix needs to do. Phoenix needs to just throw that game out, don't look at the film, and come out and say, you know what? How can we adjust to this altitude? Look, they were ball watching because they were tired.
You think the biggest reason for them losing is the altitude difference playing in Denver?
It's a real thing. Absolutely. I'm not making an excuse for them. but it's a real team.
But it is an excuse. Like they lost.
No, it's not an excuse. You go there and you play. You want to do it. You just can't. It's just simple as that.
Well,
like,
is that
everyone
is
can,
that
everyone
something?
Can.
Is that something then that is gonna get easier as the series goes on?
You
because
have to adjust.
You're used to being there, but you've been there since Thursday. Tonight, Saturday night, you've had Thursday,
you get there
Friday.
Thursday. So let's think about it. You get there Thursday. They just finished their series when? Tuesday or something?
Yeah, they finished a while ago.
Yeah, it is. Okay, they finished on Tuesday or whatever they did. They finished in LA. They had to go back home to Phoenix. You know, these guys aren't machines, believe it or not. All that travel takes a toll.
Yeah, but what I'm saying
some of these guys are in their 30s.
What I'm saying is,
what are you saying?
They got there on Thursday. They had Friday to prepare, and Saturday night comes along game day.
Okay.
They now only have one day off before the next game. So my question is, will they even have a chance to get adjusted to the altitude?
You got to do the best you can.
Because the game is so soon.
You do the best you can. You get there. He got there Thursday saying, I just want to get these guys adjusted. I want to get them, whether it's a practice, a walkthrough, whatever they did on Friday, game plan, whatever they needed to do. Got there Thursday, little something Friday, maybe a little shoot around today, maybe because of the game was so early. It was a 5:30 game, or well, it's 7:30 out there. So maybe they had a shoot around, and then it's here. You get the guys 35, 36 minutes, and then you say, you know what? Okay, guys, we should be a little better for the next game, whenever the next game is. What's today, Saturday? When is the next game? Monday, Tuesday, or something like that?
It's on Monday. It's on Monday.
And now Monday, you should be a little better. So that's all you can do. We can talk about it. It is what it is. Denver understands that. That's their home advantage. They have an advantage. They understand it. However, these guys are well-conditioned athletes, and they will adjust. All right, it doesn't mean you're going to win, but you need to get adjusted to it. And I expect them to put a better effort together in game 2. And then go home, and then maybe you come back and see. They got to win one there anyway. So they got 3 more. Hopefully, they'll have 3 more chances to do it.
Okay. Let's talk about tonight's games, because we've got 2 great games lined up for tonight. We've got, starting at 6 p.m. UK time, we have the Miami Heat traveling to Madison Square Garden for a matchup against the New York Knicks, which nobody in the world predicted. How are you looking at this game 1? What are the key points of emphasis you're going to be looking at, as this one goes on?
Well, there's no ifs, ands, buts about it. Both of these teams, Miami is playing terrific, but the Knicks are playing terrific. It'd be interesting to see the health of Julius Randle, whether he's going to play or not. But the New York Knicks have been playing terrific. Now, 2 of the better players thus far in the postseason have been Jalen Brunson for the Knicks and Jimmy Butler for the Miami Heat. I mean, they've been the 2 of the top 3 players in the entire playoffs. So I think this is shaping up to be a very competitive matchup. Both teams are very tough teams. And even though Miami's a little underhanded right now, they're short-handed, we should say. I think the Knicks have an excellent chance to advance. I'm going to pick the Knicks in this series just because they have the depth. Their depth, I think.
And how many games?
Yeah, I think this goes 6 or 7. But I think the Knicks, because of their depth, they should be able to find a way to get to the Eastern Conference Finals. Missing Tyler Hero, missing Victor Oladipo. And I think the bigs of the Knicks has the potential to really, I like Mitchell Robinson and Julius Randle, especially if
Randle's healthy, yeah.
Yeah, and those guys, Obi Toppin against Kevin Love and Bam Adebayo. So, and after that, they really have no size. So I think the Knicks should be able to at least slow down Jimmy Butler. I expect them to have different defensive looks, unlike he had in Milwaukee. And I think they should be able to win this series. I don't think they go in 5 or anything. I think it goes 6, potentially 7. But overall, I expect the Knicks, or I think the Knicks have a good chance of advancing to the conference finals.
Yeah, head coach of the New York Knicks, Tom Thibodeau, knows a thing or two about Jimmy Butler, having coached him during his time at the Chicago Bulls. So he may have some level of insight there. What you said about the big men, I completely agree. With the way that they dominated Jared Allen and Evan Mobley in the previous round, they're now going up against the front line of Bam Adebayo, Kevin Love, and Cody Zeller coming off the bench. So they should win that battle on the inside in terms of controlling the boards. And obviously missing Hero, you got away with it against Milwaukee. I don't know how much that will factor into this. It's also going to be interesting for me to see who's guarding Jalen Brunson from a Miami perspective. And then the rest of the matchups, how they kind of figure out, because the Heat and the Heat and the Knicks, they get to the paint kind of similar.
I expect them to go. I expect them to go zone. I expect them to go zone here, because you can't put Jimmy. You can't put Jimmy just on Jalen Brunson. You can't put Jimmy just on RJ Barrett. You can't just put Jimmy on Julius Randle. But Jimmy is clearly their best defensive player, and he's their best offensive player. So they're going to have to, I think the Knicks have an advantage as far as being able to attack their players and their athleticism. I think, whether it's quickly, RJ Barrett, Randle, Hart, and all of those guys. However, I think Coach Spo is going to have a great game plan. I mean, that I know. What he's going to choose to do, I'm just guessing off the top. He'll probably have to go zone. But zone a lot of times doesn't allow you to defensively rebound. And Mitchell Robinson is an elite offensive rebounder. So we'll see how this plays out. But I expect this to be a very physical series. But overall, I think the Knicks have an advantage because they just have more able bodies at this point during the season.
Yeah, and I feel like when you look at the team, when we talk about the unlikely contributions, I just look at it like the Knicks have more guys, whether it's a Josh Hart or whether it's a RJ Barrett or whether it's a Emmanuel Quickly coming off the bench or whoever it might be. They have more guys that can give them that added boost in comparison to the Heat, who have been so reliant upon Jimmy Butler through this playoff run so far. I know Duncan Robinson's contributed, but Tom Thibodeau is going to find a way to take that away. For what it's worth, the Knicks won 3 of these teams' 4 matchups during the course of the regular season. Obviously, that means nothing when you get to the playoffs, but is just something worth bearing in mind as you get into it. And it's going to be an interesting matchup for sure. Expecting it to be very physical. BJ, what's your favorite memory when you think of the Knicks versus the Heat? Because they've had some battles over the years.
Well, one, you always had Pat Riley and his, time in New York, being a native New Yorker. So the energy was always in the building, right? You had Jeff Van Gundy, you had Pat Riley. There are a lot of New Yorkers who live in the Miami area. It's on the East Coast. And you just had 2 very competitive teams. Both of them were really good teams in that era. You had Lonzo Mourning and Tim Hardaway and Charlie Ward and Marcus Camby and Allen Houston. So those were very competitive times. And so I expect this, like I said, to be very competitive. However, I think the Knicks do have an advantage. Now, we got to go out there and see how it's going to play out. But I'm expecting a very good series, if anything. I think it's going to be kind of a throwback kind of series because both of them are going to play a physical brand of basketball.
Absolutely. So the reason why I asked is the Miami Heat are only the 6th ever number 8 seed to advance into the second round. And one of those teams who was an 8 seed that advanced to the second round was the 1999 New York Knicks, who advanced past the Miami Heat in that first round on an Allen Houston game winner. That series is one of my favorites because if you guys don't know about 90s basketball, go and look it up because it's the one in which there was a fight and Jeff Van Gundy, who was the coach at the time before he was a commentator, he was the coach of the Knicks. He was clinging.
We're not going to talk about the game.
He was clinging to Alonzo Mourning's leg like a child. It might be one of the funniest fights I've ever seen.
More
ever.
like a child. Alonzo Mourning's like 6'10". This guy's like
that's why
5'2".
everyone looks like a child next to him.
That's what I'm saying. He's like a child. Like the guy's 5'2", 130 pounds, right?
I just want to give context, for fans who are new to the sport and they don't know. It's just a funny moment that they can go and look up on YouTube and see that. Because I remember the first time I ever saw that clip, I found it absolutely hilarious. But that was in the wild 90s. I don't expect any fights of that nature to be going on in this series, but I'm really looking forward to this one. Because there is the unexpected factor of Jimmy Butler just doing whatever he wants anytime he's on the court. So that's the first game. And then following that, we have the Golden State Warriors versus the Sacramento Kings in a Game 7 win or go home, winner takes all matchup in Sacramento, where the cowbells will be ringing. The beam is on standby, ready to be lit. I think they got to get a super beam out if they win tonight. They've got to double the strength of it. They need to see that on Mars. Who'd you like for this Game 7, B?
I don't know. This is Game 7. This is Game 7. It's anybody's game. Okay. This is, if you want to utilize reason and logic, okay, then the Warriors should win. Why? Because they have the experience. Steph Curry, Draymond Green, Klay Thompson. These guys have been in situations like this before. They have a championship pedigree, a championship level coach. Da 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 da. You can go on and on and on and on. Now, the Sacramento Kings, they lose 3 games. They lose 3 games in a row, I might add, in this series.
And a lot of people thought they might be done.
Okay. They make a move. They go and Mo, I knew they had to make some move. Now, what move they make? They said, and here's the thing, Mo. You've heard me say it. I'm going to say it for the last time because I can only say it one more time. What's your counter to everything? Let's just play faster. So that's what they did.
When you thought they couldn't possibly get any faster, they took their one remaining big off the floor.
It said, let's just play faster. What else you going to do, coach? Let's just play faster. And as he loves to say, get them things up. So now, luckily for them, those things went down and they won in Game 6. Trey Lyles and these guys, they just played faster. And that was the key to the game. I've said it before the series. They play the Warriors brand of basketball better than the Warriors do right now. Okay? Now, I don't know what the Warriors are going to do. However, it appears to me that offensive rebounding is a key, and they have to get the right matchups. It's just going to be a battle of the wheels. If they can't keep the Kings off the offensive rebound, that's a problem.
The Kings averaging 17.5 second chance points throughout the series so far. They're also winning the battle of points in the paint and fast break points.
Okay. Now, in addition to that, the Warriors are going to have to limit their turnovers. So turnovers is going to be key. I'm going to be looking out for. I'm going to be looking out for offensive rebounds on the other end. And then something that I definitely know they're doing, okay? I definitely know they're doing is, there's a term that they say they want to get paint touches, okay? Paint touches mean our offense is to get in the paint and then spray the ball, meaning pass it, driving kick. They call it spraying. That's what they call it. And they're targeting one particular player in their half-court offense, and that is Kevon Looney. So we're going to see how this is going to play out. Obviously, the more shots you make, the better your game plan has a chance to work. And we're just going to see. I expect the Warriors to be at their best. I expect them to come out like champions. I expect them to handle this the way, they know how. And if you ask me, I'm just going to say the Warriors. But truly, everyone can talk tough now. Well, we know this. We've been here before, all those things. Let me tell you something. I've been in a few Game 7s. You can't tell me that the Warriors aren't concerned. You can't tell me that the Warriors feel like they just have confidence. This is anybody's game. Why, ladies and gentlemen, am I saying that? It's because the three-point ball is a real thing. Because you can be up 10 now in a game like this, and in 4 shots, it's over.
It ain't safe on the block.
Okay. Nothing is safe in a game like this because of the way both of these teams play, in particular, the Sacramento Kings. So I'm just going to look for the obvious turnovers. I'm going to look for offensive rebounding, and then I'm going to see how they're going to limit the other team's ability to play faster. Because Sacramento, it's clear to me what they're doing. They're just going to play faster.
Can I ask you?
That's their goal.
We've seen in many Game 7s throughout the course of NBA history, we've seen unlikely heroes. For example, Grant Williams in Game 7 against Milwaukee. Can you give me a name of an unlikely hero that you think might cause a stir in tonight's game?
Well, I'm going to tell you a guy who keeps showing up, and he's unlikely because we don't say his name. Keegan Murray. He
got 5 offensive rebounds and took about 3 or 4 charges in the last game.
And he made some threes. Now, Keegan Murray, no one's really saying his name, but he's quietly, after struggling in the first 2 games or so.
He's a rookie. Natural.
That's okay. This is a valuable experience for this young man, and he's showing up. Now, it's going to be either Keegan Murray or Harrison Barnes.
Oh, that would be heartbreaking for Warriors fans if it was Harrison Barnes.
It's going to be one. It's going to be one of them. I think those guys, because they need one of those guys to play well to have a chance to win this game. Because Herter to me, his contribution is going to be on the defensive end. He's got to be respectable on the defensive end. We know Trey Lyles has to come in and be aggressive on the offensive end. Why? Because he's got to keep Kevon Looney and Draymond Green honest so that they can get their paint touches or whatever they want to call them, right? Touch the paint and spray the ball, whatever it is they call it. We know that. Okay? So Herter or Trey Lyles have to keep the defense honest. Now, what is Coach Kerr going to do? Is he going to go zone? Is he going to live with Trey Lyles, thinking that moment is too big for him? I don't know. But what I do know is that they have to take care of that basketball. I think Coach Kerr is going to have to really shorten his bench. I think this is 40 minutes plus for
those
Draymond.
Old legs. Clay.
I think it's 40 minutes plus for Clay, for Steph Curry, okay, Wiggins. And Wiggins, I think, and now whoever else. I don't if Poole isn't going early, I think he's not going to.
If it's 40 minutes for Jordan Poole, the Kings are winning this game, surely.
Yeah, because I just don't see because, and here's why I say this with Poole. If you have those 4 guys on the floor with Draymond or Kevon Looney, and I target Draymond or Kevon Looney in our offense, now your offensive rebounders will be Clay, Jordan Poole, and Steph Curry. That's not going to work.
And Jordan Poole isn't, he's been shooting like 20, 30% from the field. He's not scoring. He's not a defender. He doesn't offer size.
All you need is one game. Timing is everything. He could come out and have a game, and then all of a sudden,
he could be the unexpected hero, hey?
He could, yeah, exactly. So we don't know what's going to happen. But what I do know is that Sacramento has a plan. Sacramento has found something that they can execute in their half-court offense, which they couldn't find in games 3, 4, and 5. Game 6, they discovered something. Oh, wow. We can target Kevon Looney in particular. Okay. Monk. This kid, Fox, has been terrific, and they figured that out. So now it just comes down to who's going to execute better. And Mo, I couldn't tell you because they're both playing the same way, except Sacramento just does it better. They do it better. Listen to what I'm saying. You have Steph Curry, and I'm telling you, Sacramento does the Warriors thing better than they do it right now
Mhm.
on the offensive end. So we'll see. We'll see. We'll see who can impose their will on this game. Now, I know Steph Curry is going to be Steph Curry. Klay Thompson, he's very capable. And I don't know who else for them. Right? I'm not looking for Wiggins to have a 25, 30-point game. I'm not looking for Draymond or Kevon Looney to have a 20-point game. I don't know. Is it Moody? I don't know who's going to do it, but they're going to need a significant contribution mode that we're going to say, oh, wow. I didn't see
Dante
that one
DiVincenzo, stand up. Jonathan Kuminga, stand up. Someone's got to do it. Somebody's got
to do it.
But there's only one way to find out.
And I want to say this last thing.
All right.
This is why this game right here, whether they win or lose the game, Sacramento, this is why the regular season matters. That atmosphere tomorrow night, Bo, is going to be off the charts. Okay. They're going to have the cowbells. You're not going to be able to hear yourself think. And I'm going to tell you something. Now, the Warriors are as battle tested as anyone in the league. Okay. But that's going to be tough to overcome. Even for the Warriors. I mean, Mo, you're not going to even be able to hear yourself think. And that's going to be a factor. You just hope that it's not a factor to where they run you out of the building.
Well, the Warriors faced this in the finals last season in the TD Garden because that Celtics crowd was so loud you couldn't hear anything.
So that's loud, but it's not like it's loud. This one is a little different. This one is okay. All right. This one is better than the Celtics. I'm telling you. Okay. And then I'm gonna tell you what's better than this one. The Knicks. Oh man. There's levels to this. Celtics is good. They're really good. Don't get me wrong. It's good. It's loud here, bam. But Sacramento, I would tell you another good crowd too is the Utah Jazz. Jazz they have a great time. They have a great crowd. Jazz, it gets loud in there.
It's probably because that's the only thing you can do in Utah that's remotely fun.
I don't know what it is, but it's very, very loud in there. But Sacramento tomorrow is going to be popping.
Okay.
I can tell you that.
I can't wait. And the best part is that we've just got two nice and early games on tomorrow night. Means that I, in fact, get an early night and some sleep. So I'm looking forward to it.
Well, let's get it. Let's take advantage.
I'll probably be so excited after a game 7 that I can't sleep for days. But stay with us because we'll be back tomorrow with another episode recapping everything that happens and letting you know about Monday night. Because on Monday night, we've got the Celtics and the Sixers getting underway. And we have an important update on Joel Embiid, which we'll talk about tomorrow. So make sure you guys stay locked in. Share with your friends. Leave a review and all that good stuff. And most importantly, get buckets.